So you can see, this is my hydrometer. It's about at 1.002. So almost all of the fermentation has stopped. There's just a teeny tiny bit more sugar in there. So we're gonna go ahead and move into secondary at this point. You can see, so at the time of going into secondary, it's still cloudy. It will clear up. And if it doesn't clear up, I'll add a little more pectic enzyme in about 6 months, but I'm gonna give it a good 6 months. But you can kind of see the color is less bright than I thought it would be. It's just got a faint orange tinge to it. The smell, it smells young. And when you taste it, yeah, it's brightly acidic. This is perfect. So this is very, very good even at this point. And it'll continue to mellow, but so it's bright. It's very fruit forward, bright. It's acidic, but that's how I wanted it because this is obviously a white wine. So you want the high acidity because you want it to be drinkable. Just a trace of sugar, so it feels slightly sweet. So I would call this off dry, which is the style that I prefer. But this is good even at this point. So the wine is now, I started it on Monday morning, so it's now Friday morning. So it's about 4 days old. But this is a decent quality wine. So I'm impressed with the yeast. It didn't seem to impart any off flavors or scents. So the Montrachet yeast might be perfect for this. It may continue to use up all the sugar, so I might back sweeten just a smidge if it, but that'll be right before bottling. But as it is right now, this is good. Okay, so now you can see the bag has been removed, and we're gonna just fill it up. So I'm going to, this is why I use this sort of jug anyway, so I can just do this. They say not to do this. Because they say it introduces too much oxygen. But a little oxygen's okay, and we're gonna degas this. So I'm just gonna slowly let that soak in there, and I'll be back in a second when it's full. So this is what you tend to get. This is what you tend to get when you make 1.25 gallons. So you'll get a full carboy, and then you will get a 750 milliliter bottle. And this is why I racked the way I did. It exposes a little more oxygen. Normally that's not a problem because I normally like to rack just under 1.03 on the hydrometer. So fermentation is still ongoing, and the oxygen, it doesn't really matter. The carbon dioxide just pushes it out. This one, I'm a little worried a little bit about it. And the main reason that I'm worried about it is because the fermentation is almost over. There's very little fermentation going. But when you filter using that sort of jug, it's basically a water jug, like you would put 5 gallons in. Most of the sediment accumulates at the bottom. So what you end up getting is a pretty clear carboy, gallon carboy, and then most of the sediment is in the bottle. And this is what I want, because I'm hoping not to have to rack this one at all. So this one may settle out completely, and then this one, which I wouldn't even need. But if I do need to, because if you look, you can see this is only about an hour. You see the amount of sediment there. So that's only after about an hour, but I don't think it's going to substantially increase. And I'm almost more okay keeping it on the leaves than I am using this one to top it off. So this one, you can see there's still some fermentation going on. You can yeah, you can see the bubbling, but I think that's mostly off-gassing. I think that's mostly off-gassing. I don't think that's active fermentation, because this one doesn't have that same level. So, I think that's mostly off-gassing, but you can kind of see. So the strategy would be, because this is, about, half the bottle, and this will continue to kind of filter down. So we might get to like right here, but this is going to have a lot of the sediment. So hopefully what I would do if I have to use this is just kind of take a wine thief and then I'll go into a cup, directly into a cup, or maybe 2 cups, and share this bottle with a friend. But I would just get it, and hopefully I wouldn't even need it. If this doesn't get too much worse, I take kind of a contrarian approach here. I do not like to rack off the leaves. If the leaves are just a fine layer of sediment down there at the bottom, I'm just going to let this thing go for the full year. And I would rack it once, like about a week before bottling, just to get this layer of sediment off. The thing about bottling is sometimes what will happen is when you're bottling, you'll kick up some of that sediment. You're not trying to, but you will. So I like to just rack it about a week before bottling. I like to just rack off this sediment, and then at that time I can back sweeten. I can add a little, whatever I want to do to kind of make some final adjustments, and then boom. If I don't have to mess with this, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to have to use this, but I will. So this I have, but this is in contact with the leaves, and so it's going to be stronger flavored. You can see that right there. That's quite a bit of sediment. So this is what you tend to get though, and if you rack it ordinarily the way they tell you to, then what you're going to get is you're probably going to get more sediment in this one, and then you will need this one almost by sort of guarantee. But I'm trying to minimize whether I am actually going to have to rack off of this one. So at this point, I'm thinking no, but you never can tell.